new in game 2, Chulex and his dual partner all the way here, Queasy, jumping out of the battle bus. These guys winners of game 1, 17 points, but remember, the leaderboard is ever so close, just a 1-point disparity between each place all the way down to almost 20th place so far. So the game is so close, and people still have to be playing so tight.
And here he is landing at Holly Hedges, actually, and possibly with his teammate Trulex splitting over towards one of these low-key agency spots that can net you the minigun, can net you the heavy sniper that we saw a couple of different teams trying to split towards. Looks like Trulex and Queasy, the winners of game 1, are going to be the favorable contests over at and outside of Sweaty Sands.
We get a POV of, first of all, I just looking at kill feed right there. Andalex picking up a quick elimination. We're going to tune in right here to Sweaty Sands to see how it actually happens, or if it already did happen off the sky. That was insanely fast, and Hotel's barely even pierced from the roof side. Ice is already down. That opens up the beach for Nate. That opens up this left side for these guys to control immediately. I don't even see the other portion of the duo. There he is near that basketball court, but how long will he survive for?
And you can see how fast Andalex, he didn't even really loot the rest of it. Look at this. It's actually a failed drop, it looks like, from the other teammates. Out of the sky, he gets beamed from Andalex, who dominates from the Hotel, and now they're chasing down this final player, not letting this free point go. Essentially a big pot for possibly Nate as well. And I see another big fight going down at Steamy Stacks. It's Scram and Refsguard winning against Janice and Tayson. And there it is, the conclusion of that as well. Scram and Refsguard got a little surprised when they saw Janice and Tayson switch things up onto them in week 4. Wow, you can open that chest through the wall. No, the wall's gone, probably. Replay bug. All good.
New text. We saw Refsguard go down, though, so Janice and Tayson will still have a point in this game, because I think he did get fully finished and eliminated. You're squeezing Trulex, already taking out Thomas HD, and now he's fully finished too. I'm curious to see if Collusion is nearby, because maybe that's his arrow on the left side near the henchman drop spot and loadout. I mean, he might have a heavy sniper already. It's gone.
They now both have henchmen, Queasy and Trulex. Queasy with the minigun that they picked up off of Thomas. And Trulex, and Queasy, I believe, had the heavy sniper to start things. And like I said, they were splitting Holly Hedges and that henchman spot and then pushing in through. There, I believe, is Cluja in the distance. No tags, but they move right back to Holly Hedges. Here's Mexi and Verox. Uncontested dirty docks for them, and 15 points out of game 1. A good start. And I think this team, from being probably one of the most talked about in terms of like most underrated going into EU, then started to struggle a little bit, but here in grand finals is where they need to perform, and they started off really, really good.
Underrated is a very good term, because these guys always frag out all the way under all these tarps on low ground. I was curious to see actually how they got such a good mid-ground layer and held it last game. Landing dirty docks and having that zone, you're right at home at all portions of the game at all times. So we'll see how they adapt if the zone does not come into their favor. The first one, waiting to see where it's going, waiting to see if it's locked in. Looks a little bit more northern than usual. Savage and Eyedrop leaving off Salty Springs, leaving off anywhere else. This is a fast note, leaving off Pleasant Park towards the left and then moving up towards these islands. In quick fashion, Eyedrop has the minigun and heavy sniper available in his inventory, and then Letchi gets a gold AR out of an epic chest. He's going to be online very fast in this game.
That he is. We saw the beams come out of Wolfies and Letchi, and we know what they're capable of. We were questioning a lot whether they could find themselves something that works moving towards grand finals. They really, really were trying to hunt for a drop spot, and I think they have found something. Definitely not what people would consider the best, but anything uncontested at this stage in grand finals is probably worth no matter what, and clearly for good reason. Look at the loot from Letchi. 5 big pots. It's something that you love to see.
Now, I've had some experience dropping on this side of the map. The worst possible thing that can happen is not having good chest RNG, but yeah, 6 big pots. You are big chilling. Letwick has two of his own in a fight early on against Rayed and Waze, who cannot catch a break from these top duos, targeting them not only on rotation, but at their drop spots as well. This is kind of near Slurpy Swamp on the bottom left, but not so close to where you're going to be near that rig. They're looking for shots. This build fight is high, and the pressure is on.
It's nuts. You want to see Letwick and Kiriachi on top of you. We see them dominate these early game fights time and time again, and not worried about staying in zone because how much they want to fish still, but he is using that harpoon up to continue this pressure. Astro finds multiple. I think it's a three-way fight for them too, as this one continues. Up on top, Kappa tries to peek through Rayed, trying to break into his box, but the trade is for Letwick, and he gets that floor as well. He's going to drop down, I think, engaged in a little bit of a 50-50, but now he's stuck. Letwick has got to get in with him, and they do get in on this box of Kappa. Can they break the stairs? Yes, they find that one, and on the backside, Letwick runs right back into that box, and they clean up the fight in good fashion. A 2-0 start from Letwick and Kiriachi, now back on the leaderboard.
And if you paid attention and played close, very close eyes onto that box fight, you can see how they kind of baited these guys to stay in those four boxes, and then finally pincered in, switched things up, got a few walls replaced on the outsides, so they couldn't actually edit. Ray had kind of forced in ways at first, forced to stay behind those stairs, not having any options to move left or right in that box, was just forced into a 2v1. Ray came down after that just to try to help, try to survive, but being split off immediately. With expert decision-making by Kiriachi and Letwick, there was no chance for this duo to survive whatsoever. Now we have the first look into Metro CRR after drop. They're moving immediately onto inland, onto Nems and Dako. Dako, we saw him in week 4 be so instrumental in stopping people's games before they got to finish. Everyone who was just ready off of mid-ground finally stabilized Dako at the back of their box with an AR. Height, staying true, staying happy. Dako in the zone with floppers. Now a different POV. We see him in mid-game. We're slightly early, getting pressured out, no shields, taking shots in a wooden box. He's looking scared.
And while another team does come in, and that's exactly what I was about to allude to, as it's iDrop and Mr. Savage who push in on this, and possibly hearing that grappler earlier on from CRR is going to be that cue for them to get involved in this fight, but no, they based up instantly. I was going to say, such good positioning from Metro and CRR to put themselves in between the two, have one sandwich in between themselves, and then pressure the guy who's trying desperately, Dako, to get back to his teammate. They're going to bounce on out of here with that launch pad, and they do get pressured a little bit, but with the shield, it should be okay. And they get out of dodge, and for good reason. You'd expect them sometimes to be like, hey, no, we actually want to continue and fight this, but they know where there is another big pot, because they've already looted this area. So they take it right back.
A campfire now denying anyone else use unless you have 300 wooden mats. Varrock's going to be looking at being in his own metal base on the bridge, replenishing as much as possible, getting his mats up. Everyone's still in this 15 to 20 point range, looking to just get away from the competition. Here's Raisin Joey against Trip RNN.
Trip Burn, such a strong player, but Kiriachi and Letwick in their heat were the only people to hold first place in their heat from start to finish, from game 1 to game 6. But this time they're not at the top, so we'll see how relevant this is. If they can get back up to the top, maybe they can maintain, but it does show how consistent they can be. But in grand finals, they got to start strong, hopefully. Otherwise, oh, the thing was, in their heat, they also won by 20-some points. So just because they're not on top in game 1 does not mean that they can't end there at the end of everything. And with those 2 elims, they're off to a good start.
They just need that room to operate. And although it's not showing itself just here in Zone 2, there's still a long ways to go. Only 7 duos, not even, only 5 duos have gone down so far. There's KP, Zet, and Fex up top, looking at risky reels. Save It and Scully, the first update we see from them. Not really sure where they were exactly in the last game, but now have a chance to get out of that 0-point range, fix their mistakes from game 1. They have a central position over everyone. And although that's very good in terms of having a base, rotating out of here, you have to be very careful because anyone from any side can shoot you off on rotation.
Look how many people are central. And there's Aqua and Stompy up on heights at that hill with the one single chest with the car. So they kind of match the peak of the risky reels. Back over to Mr. Savage and iDrop. They've backed off of that fight. And again, they've got the henchman loot from out of Pleasant Park. And moving back through here, this is familiar territory for them. But where did they set up? It looked like they were very much trying to get high up on that surge by taking fights like we saw against Mitro and CRR, at least for brief moments. The beams were good, and they disengaged right off of that.
It's in and out style of gameplay, making sure you have a home base. This makes you feel comfortable, but even with that fight, even with those beams, they're only 113 damage above surge. Is that because they're not getting enough, or is it because of the entire server keeping up right now while they look for fights? Kluja goes back and reboots Thomas. We saw him go down earlier at that henchman spot at Sweaty Sand, I believe, to not Andalix and Nate, but another duo. Styler, though, jumping right in again, the mid-game box fight duo. Looking to find another point, another two possibly, already damage taken. And they're so close to the box. Maestro actually sending Styler in with an RPG. It's not possible to connect, though, and now they're getting third party. Things are getting a little bit too chaotic. He's taking a lot of damage from all sides. Maestro goes down. Finally, as a solo, is taking pressure from all four sides, and now the duo is clapping back as well. A mistake possibly from the Wave duo. Not the right one to ride as they go down.
And they've been trying so hard to start things off strong, and here they looked for a fight that would be safe to take so that they could get up on Storm Surge. They were below. Escali just wipes a full team of Leo JT and Josh, one of the Pleasant teams. Yes, you have to take fights, but that one was open, and a lot of teams realized immediately that there was a box fight in wood taking place that they could capitalize on. Mr. Savage again going on to Dako and next. Another fight. There's all fights on all sides breaking up. And Nas and Ibuhai on one as well against Norwood and next Sweezy. Scully. Oh, this is actually slightly back a little bit as we see that wipe happen again. Here's a Nas and Ibuhai. And they do find the target that they want to pressure. Zone is moving too, so that might even fall in. And he does. Ibuhai finishes him off. Anas now in the cornfield. And on the backside of zone, as Ibuhai is getting closer and closer to Norwood. A heavy snipe did go in to make this work for Norwood, but he gets out of the box on the backside. He takes some good tags on Ibuhai, and again, a third party coming in through. They thought the cornfield was making it safe for them, but 3 HP now. He's got to back off and take some minis. It's so close, and Nas finishes that off. But danger, they're not out of the corn yet. As the team is spraying through, desperately trying to find Ibuhai, which they know is low.
I thought it'd be a little bit more shambles with 3 HP with that far to go, but with 2 floppers, it'll be straight back up to 100. We'll have no issues flying out. And Savin and Scully, 3 total eliminations so far to Risky. Still staying in that POI. Nate and Andalex in their own fight. Thomas goes down again. And this time Kluja is not there to reboot him afterwards. That duo is now permanently out with an extra point off on that leaderboard as well.
And Storm Surge still active, by the way, as we see Drobin go down to the feed. That's who Galen is. He switched his name. That's the prior FNCS champion. And Nate and Alex are pressuring. If you look down there, look how many teams. Lecce Wolfies, Kiriachi and Letwick again against the winners. Trulex and Queasy. We're going to hop right into this fight as Kiriachi and Letwick pinch Trulex down. He's out. Possibly eliminated too. He holds on though. He's going to fire an RPG into it. Letwick blocks. And thankfully, because that could have done major damage, possibly could have eliminated him with how low he was. He quickly gets the Slurpfish up. Queasy now low.
And these are the fight finishers. We see them when they're 2v1, end things very quickly, make people just have their back to the box. Queasy trying to go all the way forward. We know there's a duo just waiting up there for them, and so many more transferring their positions close by. It'll be difficult for him to get out. I don't think Letwick and Kiriachi want to chase this down, but they're looking to replace everything, possibly get as much loot as possible, make sure there's no hiding spot or an angle for an RPG to come through. Here's Andalex and Nate looking down, not paying too much attention, luckily for Queasy. And now Letwick and Kiriachi follow over. They do not want Queasy to get away.
Yeah, no, they don't want another point to get out. Remember, they had their first engagement over at Slurpee, and he's already got his sights on him. Letwick marks him up. As Kiriachi takes a good heavy snipe. Looks like he wants to come back and fire off. He gets up into the box and again trying to make the loop-de-loop, but Kiriachi and Letwick now say, okay, hold on, this is possibly too much to chase. Let's continue towards zone as it is moving, and we don't want to get lobby sprayed. Queasy switches positions and smartly.
He gets chopped down. You can see the effects of having this box fight. Kiriachi and Letwick already have that big refresh of materials. Queasy now overbuilding a bit. Still has so many left. I believe he got his off his dual partner Trulex right before he got out. There was another duo there as well before that got taken, and he's just bringing down the pressure. Does not want to end this game without having a save before going out. And the RPGs are coming down. And I think they're going to keep coming over and over because he might not have a chance to see the rest of this game.
It's crazy how much one team can affect. Obviously, they got into a full-on fight. Queasy lost his teammate Trulex against Kiriachi and Letwick. He's going to try to drop down and disengage off the backside of this. Yes, he is going to manage to do that. But I was going to say how well off Letwick and Kiriachi looked after that fight. They basically had max mats, but now they probably both have spent 50 builds total and hards as well. It's not like they were fully building in wood, and that's Chase. Now moving forward as well. Over again, I saw Aqua once again going down to the feed. Yes, here it is. It's Nyrox and Bad Sniper taking some solace in game 2 here as they went down early in the other one. Stompy gets right back in the zone. He's so low, though.
Reminiscent of the Trios FNCS Grand Finals, the first 3 games, Stompy, Aqua not finding their footing, and right now Bad Sniper is going to be the one right on top of them. This is not Frosty Fights, though. This is the high ground, and this is the best POI you could possibly have uncontested, the Grotto. So not finding your footing in the first 3 games, is it already over? Is the big question looming on people's minds. They are really good at adjusting, but the RPG bait, he had the option. But with the powerful damage of purple and gold, kind of uncharacteristic to see Stompy make that decision and have that be the way he gets taken out in game 2.
And super topical. Super topical. A stat on Stompy and Aqua, because when they do get these wins in games, they end up following it up with more wins and more points. Like we saw out of Aqua in World Cup, like we saw in Trios FNCS when they had to come from behind win to claim the championship in that season. This time, first 2 games don't look good for them, but like we saw in Sunday Finals, they also had slow starts to make it really, really good for them.
Those slow starts were due to drop spot issues, though, and I don't think I see anything from that drop spot. At least 100% in Trios, it was about them getting contested, beamed out of the sky. They adjusted, landing on polar peaks, then coming into their spot. At the Grotto, it feels like it's free. They just got pushed on a mountain last time. I feel like they're just missing their shots, losing box fights.
Well, while history does and Grand Finals might be a little bit more relevant, this is a new meta, and what we've seen from Sunday Finals is that they have had slow starts no matter having Grotto or not.
True.
So we'll have to see if they can recover. Bad Sniper and Nyrox were the people who had their hands in Aqua and Stompy falling early. They're now in a fight against Magellan and Mexer, who have looked like they just wanted the path. Bad Sniper and them are going to follow it up, though, and a big Brutus drum gun in the box. One goes up as the other is holding on. They do get into it, and it's a full wipe from Mexer, but Bad Sniper gets traded. Magel coming right back into it. And a good trade, as they now have 5 total points all in this game after falling off spawn, but Nyrox loses his life to an RPG of Magel, and he's still chasing. He wants to make sure that he can pick up his teammate, but I don't think he can, and he gets fully wiped by the hands of everybody else in that lobby looking straight at that fight.
And that box now has about 8 floppers to use, heavy snipers as well, possibly big items in terms of heavy ARs in color, gold, purple, big pumps as well. You see Trizox getting bullied over here by Anas and Ibuhai. The double heavy snipers, they're looking for any opportunity to get a quick pick. Already have 2 elims in this game, and there's Magel on mid. We can see this entire server developing around a mountain.
I don't think they can find too much. I think Kubex and Kami are probably the only players, as well as Toos, who give them the opportunity, and there it is. Toos gets a little too close to the double heavy sniper of Anas and Ibuhai, and they follow up. I was going to say, because they don't have too much vision on a lot of different teams in this because of the mountain in their way as they mountain goat on the side. They still find more. Wakey and Snappy, though, on high ground with the boom boat, and we've seen this story before. No Stompy and Aqua to take this from them. Is this starting to look like a win for Wakey and Snappy? I see Verox and Maxi right underneath them, also a threat.
And then being up here, not with a minigun, but with a boom boat, it's kind of a different pressure because the first person that's going to get tagged by it is not going to expect it. The whole lobby can't hear it. There it is on launch pads as well. You can get so many group shots, so the damage here is going to be catastrophic from Wakey and Snappy up top. And more people are launching. Will they see beams over here? Wakey will try and not actually connect. So many people already just flown past so fast. Mexi and Verox get out of there as well. And finally, Wakey and Snappy put down enough pressure to get a launch pad. Just Wakey, though. Snappy's all the way up front, building out for his dual partner. He catches up quick, and then he looks back for any shots, but the server's already moved on.
But you can see exactly what he was doing. He was making sure there was nobody trying to pressure, nobody trying to take sneaky flopper plays on heights. And I think he accomplished his mission. Ibuhai and Anas with 4 eliminations so far in this game. They made it towards the end game as last, but I don't believe they got too many placements. I think it was mostly eliminations for them. A lot of different teams still threats in this. Cammy and Kubex, definitely a consistent team. Nathan and Alex. Raxo, and here's Kiriachi. Also a threat. He is on to Verox, and I'm not sure if Mexi is still alive in this one. Yes, he is, but low HP. Kiriachi has a little bit to play with. There's Raxo taking out Mitro and CRR, I believe. Yes, both of them down.
And now he is the low ground warrior in control, taking out one of the most aggressive and just star-started duos when they get to this position. There is a bridge coming up, though, so if he gets trapped underneath it, that could be a big problem. Playing towards that river with a low mat count as well. If it's the wrong-sided current, that could prove disastrous. He falls lower and lower as there's no one else left on that position, on that layer. We tune back in with Snappy and Wakey up top with an RPG. So many rockets left. A heavy sniper there for the combo as well. And they're not finding any success in too many eliminations. Just 1 point so far. Are they falling behind the rest of the server?
And now as we get closest to 8th zone, 15-player threshold, team threshold for placement points that starts raining true come in. Verox connects with one, so he's still alive, even though they were so low. Mr. Savage loses his teammate, eye drop, but up by himself, one of the solos that can definitely perform time and time again. And he is going to have an RPG to work with as well, but no builds, no mats, no materials. Nate is right in front of him, and Alex as well. He does connect twice on a good form for Andalex. Another team coming in, it's Koji, and he gets him, but not before falling to Rezon. Oh my goodness, it's Carnage down on low.
This is what happens when a height gets the advantage on the rest of the server, and then the entire zone pulls straight up off a cliff, off a mountain. People get struggles, people get stuck, and Anas now has the best POV with a big tack and is landing shots time and time again, trapping people in zone. That could be huge and prove big dividends, but the zone just bounces back, gives them a little bit of a chance to breathe and survive. People are left. It's a 2v2, I think, finally. No, he's a solo. He's going to try to clutch. It's a solo game.
Anas, Kubex, Raxo, same team, and I believe Wakey, the last player up on heights. We get to see this zone as it bounces down for Raxo. He has a little bit more to work with. And there we catch up in the elim feed. Don't look at those. It's still a 1 versus 1 versus 1. And so many teams on the low ground. Raxo almost gets in an awkward layer. This is going to go the distance.
This is going to take a long time indeed. We have 1 minute before that zone finally closes in. No one getting shots off. Everyone has those replenished mats, as we saw a big fight break down before in the 8th zone. Raxo trying to survive with the skin of his teeth, just 22 HP, 20 actually, has so many shields. But at this point in the game, do you have the time to pop them off, changing layers to stay hidden? Does he have the opportunity here? Finally, 2 people go down. Anas now left over, eradicating the people up top on height. No, actually, down low. It's going to be the height time. That's looking downwards onto Anas. Possibly has time to pop the big. Not going to be close enough. Has a lot of materials. Might go for the high ground play. Here it is. The retake coming in. Double 90s. Gets Harry Potter stuck underneath him. It's Wakey on top. Gets the cone off, but Wakey dodges it. Moving over to the right. The pumps trade. He gets the lesser half of it, though. Wakey still has a flopper. Pops it. Anas. 2 seconds left in the zone. Flubs the build, and Wakey has the boom bow. Does not need to use it. Good positioning. Nice break off with the pressure on the builds. Wins out on game 2.